So next we have a presentation by Susanne Schnüttgen, yeah, who was meant to come. Unfortunately, she had an accident, so she will speak via video.
Yes, Susanne Schnüttgen was she has been invited by us. She's from the Living Heritage entity at UNESCO, and as Falk said, unfortunately she had an accident, she broke her leg, and she was not able to come, and she sends many greetings to all of you. We will see a short presentation of the first UNESCO Massive Open Online course, MOOC, on living heritage and sustainable development. And the course is already available. You can inscribe. You can at the end even get a certificate for having done this course. Maybe that's interesting to tell to your colleagues or students and so on. And these are 12 chapters on basic issues and put together, and they have been written and conceptualized by scholars, also by UNESCO chairs, and also by UNESCO facilitators, with the direct participation of communities and community members. So this is really something that tries to put this spirit of the Convention of 2003 of the Intangible Cultural Heritage into something, into a pedagogical and somehow also academic format. I'm the author of one of these 12 chapters. Maybe we see first the short introduction by Susanne and then a short video about the course as such.
Participants of the International UNESCO Chairs Conference on Cultures and Sustainable Development in Jena. It is my pleasure to send you warm greetings from UNESCO in Paris and to share some thoughts with you on this inspiring conference theme and the UNESCO work at the intersection of living heritage and sustainable development. But first, allow me to extend my heartfelt thanks for the organization of this timely conference to the UNESCO chairs, Professor Tiago de Oliveira Pinto and Professor Benno Verlen, both of whom have shown an extraordinary commitment to UNESCO's values and objectives. But let me now go back to living heritage or intangible cultural heritage. The Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage, which will actually celebrate its 20th anniversary next year, is a very popular international standard-setting instrument with 180 states parties today. These states parties are, or have by actually ratifying the convention, have said yes also to the important role that intangible cultural heritage plays for sustainable development. Because in the preamble it says, the convention recognizes the importance of the intangible cultural heritage as a mainspring of cultural diversity and a guarantee for sustainable development. Now, what does that exactly mean? Intangible cultural heritage or living heritage is important in many ways. Importantly, it offers communities and individuals a sense of identity, belonging, and continuity. It encompasses oral traditions and expressions, performing arts, social practices, rituals, knowledge about nature and the universe, and traditional crafts. So living heritage is actually integrated in people's everyday lives, and it can fulfill a variety of social and cultural functions in the lives of the communities. Concretely, by transmitting and recreating the living heritage, communities and groups actually promote their own well-being. They promote dignity and creativity. So in other words, they are contributing to peaceful and inclusive societies. Through living heritage, communities find answers to the issues that are of concern to them. These can range from food security and education to health and the environment or gender relations, social cohesion, disaster risk reduction, or many others, but all relevant to the development of the communities. They transmit and recreate in this way development approaches that provide local answers to the challenges, often global challenges, that they are facing. And these responses are often of a transdisciplinary nature. The safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage is therefore essential if communities around the globe are ever to realize the future we want for all. This was the slogan behind the commitment of the international community when it adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which, as you know, is it's also accompanied by 17 development goals. In view of the Jena Declaration that frames your discussions these days, it is interesting to note that the safeguarding of intangible cultural heritage can actually, or its integration in development programs and strategies, can provide an interesting example of how one can make put the new development approach that the Jena Declaration is promoting, a cultural approach, into practice, make it a reality. No doubt, these considerations may sound a little abstract to some people, and that is precisely why I am so happy that today, together with Professor Thiago de Oliveira Pinto, we can present to you our massive open online course on living heritage and sustainable development. This course offers a unique and dynamic introduction to the topic. We developed it in partnership with different UNESCO chairs, including, of course, Thiago's, and 12 different specialists in the field of living heritage and development. It is composed of 6 modules with 25 learning units, and is offered as a free self-learning format using video, assignments, and assessment tools. We partnered with the International Regional Center for Intangible Cultural Heritage in South Asia and the Pacific, and with the SDG Academy. So our aim is to reach out to large audiences. So of course, audiences from the culture sector, but also importantly, from the education field and all other areas of development. In this endeavor, we have in mind in particular young people and students, because they are the decision makers and thinkers and administrators of tomorrow. Therefore, we think that this course is of interest to all of you and to your students. And I'm already looking forward to meeting many of you in the discussion forum of this first UNESCO MOOC on living heritage and sustainable development. So please check it out and see if you enjoy it, because I'm sure that it can be one way of strengthening your knowledge on the topic of culture and development. So thank you very much and have a lovely conference.
Hello, my name is Cristina Amezcua Chavez, and I'm a researcher at the National University of Mexico, where I also hold the UNESCO-Chair for Research on Intangible Cultural Heritage and Cultural Diversity. I want to welcome you to the massive open online course on living heritage and sustainable development. We are very excited to offer you this course because it will introduce you to the interconnections between two of the fields where the international community has managed to attain important agreements and has made strong commitments from the onset of the 21st century. On the one hand, it made a commitment to safeguarding living heritage when it accepted the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage in 2003. But also, it set itself ambitious goals by adopting the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Linking these two fields is in fact the best way to build inclusive sustainable development by recognizing and reinforcing the plurality of ways of addressing the challenges we are facing today.
Hello, and welcome to this first UNESCO Massive Open online course on living heritage and sustainable development. And thank you also for your interest in a topic that is of vital importance for the future for all of us. Living heritage exists all around us in abundance, and it is a great resource for our well-being, our resilience, for peace, as well as for sustainable development, which is why it is important to reach out to you all and to all stakeholders involved in sustainable development, be they young or old, so that they can know about this important resource that sits with communities around the world and understand why safeguarding intangible cultural heritage is so important for attaining the 17 Sustainable Development Goals under the 2030 Agenda. In a world that is increasingly under economic, environmental, and social pressure, we need to collaborate with people and communities to recognize and harness the untapped potential of their living heritage for sustainable development. We need to work across silos and disciplinary boundaries to find creative and sustainable solutions to global challenges. This was also very clear to our member states when they adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as well as for the states that adopted the 2003 Convention with a vision to sustain cultural diversity as a key requirement for a sustainable future. The 2030 Agenda refers to sustainability as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Living heritage, which is transmitted from generation to generation, can be both an enabler and a driver of the economic and environmental dimensions of sustainable development. Recognizing the importance and strengthening the role of intangible cultural heritage, as well as integrating it into development plans, policies, and programs at all levels, can have an immense impact on shaping a better future. By offering this first MOOC on living heritage and sustainable development, UNESCO aims to reach out to students, young people, as well as NGOs and government officials who have an interest in living heritage and sustainable development. This course brings together lead thinkers and facilitators in the field from around the world, coming from different backgrounds and specialized in different disciplines, who all collaborated in the course design and will each lead one or more of the 25 chapters of this course. The course was developed in partnership with the UNESCO-Chair on Research in Intangible Cultural Heritage and Cultural Diversity at the Autonomous University of Mexico, as well as the International Information and Networking Center in Asia and the Pacific under the auspices of UNESCO, also called ICHCAP, and the SDG Academy from the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, who are the hosts of this MOOC. We are grateful also to the Cultural Heritage Administration of the Republic of Korea that, together with resources from the Intangible Cultural Heritage Fund of the Convention, sponsored the production of this course. So I hope you enjoy the course, and I'd like to thank you once again for your interest in this important subject.
As the Secretariat for the 2003 Convention, Tim Curtis, mentioned, living heritage is key to engage in sustainable development, fostering cultural identity and cultural diversity. Intangible cultural heritage, or living heritage, is a complex term used to refer to something all humans share and hold close to their hearts. It covers a range of cultural practices, expressions, and meanings that communities and groups value dearly for a wide variety of reasons. It is crucial in building our identities and sense of belonging. It is something we frequently are proud to share with others, something that our parents inherited from our elders, passed on to us, and we in turn want to transmit it to our children. It shapes the way in which we see ourselves and the way we understand and inhabit the world we live in. Intangible cultural heritage, or living heritage, is related to sustainable development in many ways. Keeping this heritage alive is crucial for building well-being and sustainable futures for communities at the local level, but also for achieving global sustainability. From incredibly diverse knowledges about nature and the universe, the deeply rooted oral traditions and performing arts, to cultural practices, ritual, and colorful festive events, living heritage exists in abundance all around the world. By taking this course, you will gain a better understanding of intangible cultural heritage and its relations with sustainable development, while exploring examples and experiences of communities from around the world. By joining the course, we invite you to rethink development from a cultural perspective. Welcome to this incredible journey through cultural diversity, the living heritage of peoples, communities, and groups all around the world, and their link to building sustainable future for ourselves and the generations to come.
As it has been said, this course is already open and you can really run it. Just let me add a few remarks on our musical program during this conference. I received many friendly and positive reactions to our musical programs, but I would like to mention that that in this case it was not just music as something which is pleasant and beautiful. No, music and sound has its own narrative. If you saw this second video, did you pay attention to the sound? At first, you reacted to it, some South African sounds. And while they are speaking, there is no sound in the background, no electronic stuff. So this has been a hard work the past years. I had with UNESCO materials, just especially from the living entity, living heritage entity, sorry, to make clear that sound is part of intangible cultural heritage. It's not just something to be put as a soundtrack. So that's important. I think you all understood, especially also yesterday, this organ improvisation. This is really heritage. This is culture. This is something with its own methodology, as you said this morning, you know. And it interacts and it complements with social, economic, political, and spiritual also, and other kinds of processes and cultural processes also. I think this is one message we would like to make clear and that you take home with you. And this course from UNESCO makes it clear because almost 60% of the items inscribed into the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage is music or has to do with music. This is amazing, you know, and so that's what has to be said. Now I thank you very much for liking our musical program also.